Recently, President Trump announced what he called the economic D-Day of unprecedented economic pressure to crush Iran's economy, or what he called shadow economy in his tweet. And he went on a long rant in his Truth Social post talking about how this is all necessary in order to ensure Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Of course, there was a fatwa against it by the Ayatollah whom he killed, so we can't really talk about that. Moving on, Scott Bessent also chimed in saying that you are either with us or against us for all the other nations of the world. And of course, China very quickly chimed in saying, we're not going to follow your logic. What's interesting about this is that U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve is on its last legs, and it's not clear how we're going to outlast Iran. Of course, Trump is saying that this is all about a nuclear weapon, and he will not apologize for the gasoline prices, which are about to explode.
For you to pay a tiny little bit more for your gasoline, just remember, you're doing it so that a very evil country cannot have a country. Really, it's the #1 state sponsor of terror in the world. We don't want to have them have a nuclear weapon. So remember that when you have to pay a little bit more, you're at $4. It's okay. I mean, it's I'll never apologize. I did the right thing.
Now, what the administration does seem to be doing is making false announcements of a mass of tankers that are transiting the Strait of Hormuz. So the bottom line is this D-Day is likely to end very badly. Now, I want to briefly contrast this with General Eisenhower, who later became President Eisenhower, when he led the D-Day. Here he is talking to the troops, and this is a handwritten note that he kept in his pocket. And this is a very important example of responsibility. In this note, and I'm going to read the final version. So this is what Eisenhower carried in his pocket that day. The note said, "Our landing in the Sherbrooke Harbor area have failed to gain a satisfactory foothold, and I have withdrawn the troops. My decision to attack at this time and place was based upon the best information available. The troops, the air, and the Navy did all that bravery and devotion to duty could do. If any blame or fault attaches to the attempt, it is mine alone." Now, there are 2 scratch marks here, as you can see, and they speak volume. The first one is shifting from passive voice to active. He crossed out "the troops have been withdrawn," which leaves the onus of responsibility somewhere else, and puts it squarely on himself. I have withdrawn the troop. He puts the decision on his shoulders, as it should be, because he did say, let's go, to initiate the D-Day in the face of questionable weather. It was not an easy decision. So the second scratch note replaces this particular operation with my decision to attack. Again, he takes responsibility and makes it personal. Punctuating his message, he underlines the final words for emphasis, mine alone. Is this the kind of responsibility that the president could take? As I mentioned, the media is pretending that everything is hunky-dory, although the alt media is seeing the writing on the wall. For example,
and the plans, if you can call them plans, outlined by Secretary of the Treasury Bessent yesterday, in your view, effectively strangle Iran so that it cries uncle, so to speak?
No, there's no question in my mind, excuse me, that this is not going to work. And let me give you a couple of reasons. First of all, the United States and Israel represent an existential threat to Iran. And for that reason, Iran is going to fight to the death. They're not going to roll over easily. They understand that they're fighting for their life. That's the first point. The second point is that for this to work, the United States has to get virtually all of Iran's major trading partners to sever all economic intercourse with Iran. And that's not going to happen.
This video from alt media talks about how this move by Trump to attempt energy strangulation of Iran is strangling the world, including United States, which also imports plenty of oil, especially gasoline. I talked about the spread in the cracked diesel price in the previous video. So I think we're facing a terrible economic situation, and it's unlikely that those who brought us here will take any responsibility.